Okay, greetings from Metal Wani. I'm Kratika. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, it's been like more than a week since you have been on road. Cattle Decapitation Soreption and Cannibal Corpse on tour together. It's going to be a privilege for death metal fans. So how's it going so far?
It's going great. Yeah, I mean we're only I think the 5th show in so far, and we got a good month to go. But so far so good. Yes, great having Cattle Decapitation. Very popular. Been around for a long time now, and Soreption, a great band from Sweden. So yeah, I think we have a very good, powerful, extreme bill here. That if you're into heavy music, into death metal or what have you, you're going to come to the show, I believe. So,
but
so far so good.
Okay. So it's always great to see that the amazing response you guys have been taking whenever you unleash your live music, like on a previous tour. So what's the set list you have having this on this tour, and are there any Cannibal Corpse older songs you have planned for tonight, Vix?
Yeah, I mean we always try to keep our set list diverse. We have 13 albums, and so we feel we need to represent every era of Cannibal Corpse. It's very important. It of course gets harder these days to to come up with a set list when you're only playing maybe 17, 18 songs or something, but we, like I said, we try to get a mix of everything. So tonight will be the same. Of course we were trying to promote the new record, which has been out for a year. So we end up playing 3 songs off of the new record. But yes, we go back and we have songs, Eat Back to Life and Mutilated, and we have to mix it up like that. I think it's very important because all eras of Cannibal Corpse are very important, not just the new material.
True, absolutely. So like 13 trip to the studio, the Skeletal Domain, like it's a slamming album, another slamming album from the house. The songwriting is consistent yet fresh. So has it been difficult for you guys to write like the album with keeping the style same?
I don't think it has been difficult. I mean, it's kind of, you look at our career and you go, we've been around for 27 years, which is a long time, but we put out 13 records in that 27 years. That's only averaging, an album every 2 years. So obviously, we have to work very quickly, to get material together. So I don't think that's ever been a problem, obviously, with us, Otherwise, we'd be sitting waiting going, yes, we have nothing. Why hasn't Cannibal Corpse released a new record? Well, I guess we don't have anything, but we do. So that's, I really believe when we sit down and start to work, it just comes out of us. I think, and like you were saying, I listen to Skeletal Domain and I see the way we composed, and, we get excited, go, man, these songs we're really happy with these songs, and then we feel if we're happy, then we're pretty much guaranteed, I think our fans will be happy as well. So, but it's kind of bizarre when I do think about it. Like I said, it just comes out of us. I really think, when we sit down to write, we do it, and it's going to be a little fresh. I think we always try to add just something subtle, maybe, whether it's maybe a different drum beat here, or a different riff that you never played, or a scale. Those little subtleties make it a little bit different, but it's always going to retain that Cannibal sound, and I think that's important, and we've stayed consistent with over the years. But yeah, luckily the creativity has been flowing for us, so I don't think that's a problem.
Alright. So like Cannibal Corpse has been famous for their music videos. Like what made you choose Kill or Become for the new music video?
Actually, a lot of it was due to Brian Slagle, the owner of Metal Blade. He's going to have a say, of course. I mean, if we really wanted to do another song, but I think we were thinking that as well. When you start, what you have, but when you start putting everything to record, and then you hear everything with vocals and all this kind of thing, it's like that song, and I think especially kind of stood out a little more. Like this is going to us, we felt like, man, this is going to be a popular song. You can tell the fans are probably going to really dig this song. And of course, Brian Slagle said the same things. So when we had our meeting to sit down, I think we were all on the same page of, man, the video's got to be Kill or Become, because it's just arguably the most, the hit of the album, arguably, right? So, and it actually worked out being finally a song that we've been, subject that we've been writing about our whole career, but never had a video with about zombies, So it finally, I guess makes sense too. And zombies are more popular than ever, and we can finally make a video a song, that has to do with the zombies. So that was good. It turned out great video.
Yeah. So Skeletal Domain sounding incredibly powerful. When I went to the album, I felt that the drums are more prominent and clear, and the bass tone is more richer in tone wise. So what did Mark bring to the table in terms of production, and what made you choose? Why have you decided to switch producers this time?
Well, yeah, the reason why we switched was just to change it up. Eric did a great job with the 3 albums, that he did. We had no problems with any of them, but I think it was just we just need a change of scenery, kind of something fresh, just to kind of boot us a little bit, and that always helps. It was fun. It was different, a little refreshing, working with somebody else in a different environment.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the only reason why we made the change. And then of course, when we knew we were going to make that change, we wanted to use Mark, especially Alex. I'll tell you, he was really listening to a lot of Mark's productions and going, man, I want to use Mark. I think if we're going to make this change, that was the guy we chose. It wasn't like, who's out there? No, let's use Mark. Let's give him a chance, And it was definitely different too. He's a great producer. He obviously, like you said, did an amazing job sonically. I'm very happy with the whole album as a whole, my drum sound and everything. I think he did an amazing job. But yeah, he works a little different the way Audio Hammer works. It's the first time for us being in a studio that wasn't really a studio. We're used to going to Morrisound or the Sonic Ranch or even Mana, where it's actually a real studio.
Okay.
Mark's it's a makeshift studio, that Audio Hammer, and nothing wrong with that, because it's all about the knowledge of the people working and your equipment. So obviously he has all that in place. But it was the first time doing it that way. It almost felt like we were a young band starting out making recording where we have to, not in a real studio. But I loved it. I really loved it. I thought it was a really good change of pace to kind of have that feeling of it being more of a home recording than an actual being in a studio. It sort of takes the pressure off, I think, a little bit. So. But yeah, Mark, I'm sure he's got his own techniques that he applied to our albums that and all that. But he seems like he knows what he's doing. He's got some good ideas of good ways of recording, and yeah, he did a great job. So we're extremely happy with the turnout.
Good. So let's talk about the outlook of your records. Do you guys come up with your ideas of how you would like the covers to be, how the whole process occurs?
That just depends. I look back at how we've gone through, every album and every cover. Some covers we have maybe an idea that we know what we want. Okay, hey Vince, this is what we want, And then other times it's like, well, we got nothing. Here's the title of the record. What can you come up with? So, but for this instance, we had a little bit of more of an idea because when we wrote a Skeletal Domain and we knew it was going to be the title track. Okay, well now, I wrote the lyrics to that too, so it really had to kind of portray what the lyrics were talking about.
Exactly.
So when I talked to Vince, then okay, here Vince, it's going to be a Skeletal Domain. Here's the lyrics, and then and I kind of gave him a little bit of an idea what I was going for. So then I just kind of let him take it from there. I didn't get too specific, but let him kind of go off on his own. The only album, I think, the biggest specific album I think we had was kind of like maybe Gallery of Suicide. That was totally more like my idea or our idea.
Okay.
With the inside of that gallery, because I wrote the lyrics to that song too. So I really had a vision of what the cover should be.
Okay.
And then like I said, a couple other covers. I think I might even have been like Torture. Yeah, there you go. It's called Torture. What can you come up with? And we trust his abilities, and he really is in the same kind of wavelength mentally as us, I guess, So that's how that goes,
Okay. So, do you think that there should be a Grammy Award for the death metal bands, or it doesn't really matter to you?
Yeah, it would be cool, but you know what? Look what happens with the Grammys in the so-called metal category, right? So it's almost like, I think unfortunately, it probably would mean nothing. It'll be cool, I guess, just to be, wow, yeah, you were in a, you know, the fact that you might even be nominated or something, but I don't know. It's kind of like the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, it seems, you know, it just seems not really, you know, who's running this thing? Who's putting these together? Who's putting these bands in? You know, it always seems to be, you know, some controversy going on or whatever. And it's the same, like the same thing with the Grammys. You know, I'll never forget. Of course, we were old enough to watch the Grammys when Metallica should have won the Grammys when they won, and then Jethro Tull wins, you know, best heavy metal. What? I mean, everybody, we were in shock. You're like, come on, you know. So ever since then, it was almost, you know what, metal's probably always going to get shunned in some way, even though it's popular more than ever, and there are Grammys out there for it, but it just seems like, you know, it's the wrong people that would be kind of giving you this Grammy, you know. Our Grammy is, you know, the fans being here, and you know, that's the true fans. I mean, the people that would be voting Grammys or even considering nominations, well, yeah, that's probably why it would never happen, because they probably look at death metal as being, of course we're not gonna, it's not music, you know, no Grammy for death metal, you know. So, yeah, it'd be cool though, it would be cool. You know? I mean,
so if you were to choose the big four of the death metal bands, which ones would be on the list?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, you look at the originals, you know, like not even originals, but the classics, the bands that, you know, been there a long time and were the bigger bands in the early days. It would probably have to be like us, you know, Morbid Angel, Deicide, and maybe Suffocation. You maybe throw Obituary in there too or something, you know, because those are the bands that made a big, huge impact in the day. They're still going, you know, and all that. So, you know, maybe those four, or, you know, you maybe have to make it the five, I think. Yeah, so.
Cool, yeah. So how do you manage to diversify your lyrical approaches after so many years? It's like, where have you gotten your ideas? Like,
yeah, that's another one too that like you would think we're pigeonholed and we're put into a corner because you know we're writing the same, virtually of the same subject all the time, you know, for the most part, you know. But there you go, you got to try to find those little different avenues that are still horrific, and you know, I've absorbed everything throughout my life and my career, and I've written lyrics, and I've, you know, we've done it. So when it comes down to it, for me personally, as long as we start getting an idea, usually it might stem from a song title, like, you know, like there you go. For instance, a Skeletal Domain. What's a skeletal domain? Okay, well, I have to figure this out, you know, and come up with it, my story. And you know what? I delve into my imagination and I start letting it go. And then, you know, maybe sometimes I might have more of an idea, and then maybe I don't, you know. But I feel that it's always going to be pretty much a little different because it's a different time, you know. I mean, like I said, it might be going, okay, well, this song's about zombies. Well, we have 30 songs about zombies, but it's gonna be a little different because the music's different, the arrangement might be different. You know, you're gonna use some you know, different words or whatever, and try to make it a little different. So yeah, I think I don't know. I feel pretty good about myself these days with the lyrics that I do come up with. You know, so another one was Hollowed Bodies on the new record. The last song on the record, and that was the last song that I wrote lyrically for.
Okay, you wrote that one.
I wrote half the record. I wrote 6 songs on the record, so I wrote half the record. But I remember writing Hollowed Bodies, having the title. We had the title for the longest time. We just liked that name. It was like, okay, so it's pretty vague, Hollowed Bodies, you know, like, gosh, you know, it could be about anything, right, you know? So it took me a while. I'm like, what am I don't know. I started it once, like the song, got a couple lines. I had to move on to another one. It just wasn't feeling it. Well, now I have to get it done. Like we were talking, we're in our time constraints. If I don't get this done, well, then it's not on the album, or lyrics aren't there, you know? So I have to force myself in a way to get it done. I remember I wrote the lyrics in one afternoon while George was tracking another song lyrically. I went back to the hotel. I sat in that room. Things started flowing. I get one line. Oh yeah, that arrangement. I ended up writing that song in a couple hours, and it was one of my favorites on the record. I mean, and there you go. It just came like that, you know. But my idea for the song, it just took me a while, pen a little bit, and okay, yeah, all right, now I'm getting an idea. Oh yeah, it's about this, about that. Okay, I had no idea what I was going to write before I started sitting down and doing it. So sometimes it happens that way, but yeah. Luckily, I don't think we have a problem. And also having multiple songwriters. Now, I think if it was left for, say, one of us, yeah, I've been writing the lyrics for all the songs, well, maybe I could dry up a little more. But the fact that we got me, Alex, Rob, that makes it fresh, and, you know, we don't have to rely on just one guy, you know, coming up with all the ideas.
Yes. Okay. So how the death metal scene changed over the past few decades? You also played a gig in India alongside Suicide Silence. So how was the experience playing there?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, the death metal scene and metal scene is just, I think it's just ever growing. I mean, you look at it back when we started playing, I mean, metal wasn't even that big in a way. It was still underground. I mean, sure, you got bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, but those are still like not everyday bands, you know? It's still just for the metalheads, you know? It's not for mom and dad or it was for the kids. It was for us growing up, you know, and now it's mainstream. You know, now you go to any sporting event, you're going to hear Metallica, Ozzy. You know, you're hearing metal everywhere. It's like so prominent, right? And it's a household name thing. I'm sure everybody's heard of Cannibal Corpse. If you've never heard of us, you've heard of our name just out of default, out of us being around for over 25 years. I have quarter century, you know. I mean. So I think society, of course, has changed a little bit. You know, it's accepted it. You know, I mean, for a band like Slipknot to be as huge as they are and to be basically, you know, an extreme band that was influenced by death metal and all this. I mean, and look, they're huge. You know, we would have never dreamed of that back then. Bands to be, you know, this big in metal. So I think metal has come a long way. We would have never thought exactly we'd be, you know, going to India one day. You know, I mean, you just, you know, and I'm sure Indians probably never thought a band like Cannibal Corpse would ever come there. So when we did go, it was amazing. No, I mean, we were accepted. We were really, of course, accepted. You know, I mean, you can't describe it. The fans were just so happy that we were there. The people were so happy. I mean, the show was great. You know, it was an awesome time. You know, and metal is thriving. I mean, it wasn't like it's just, oh yeah, they're there because it's a Western, you know, and a Western band, they don't get bands. No, they were there because they love it and they know it, you know, and that was amazing to see that. So it was a lot of fun. That was great. I hope we get to go back sooner than later. That's for sure.
Awesome. Can you tell us about the Cannibal Corpse upcoming tours and releases that might be coming up in the next few years?
Not much is happening. I mean, obviously we're finishing this tour and we're going to South America with Testament for like 14 shows. So that'll be right after this tour, which will be cool because we're opening. We never gone to South America and actually opened for a band, so that'll be good. But that takes us up to the Christmas break, and we have a couple things that are lined up, or at least one, but I probably can't say anything yet. I'm sure things will get announced eventually, but we're nearing the end of the cycle, so not much is going to be happening with us next year. It'll probably be like, you know, getting ready to end the cycle and then hopefully just start writing on some new material. But now that's still, like I said, kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. So
looking back at your prolific career, is this something you want to change that you probably couldn't in your career?
What, to change, you mean? Or
like in your prolific career, is there something you want to change?
No, not at all. How can you? You know, I mean, I think, you know, life is, you know, you can't look back, you can't, you know, you got to learn from things. But I think, I mean, we're living our dream. We would have never ever thought any of this would be happening, impossible, like starting out 27 years ago, that we would have toured the world over and over, be the biggest death metal band, selling the records we have. I mean, if it all ended right now, I think all of us can look back and go, man, we accomplished something huge, and we did it. We lived, you know, we lived half our lives, you know, playing some crazy death metal, you know, and the fan and people loved us or whatever. So I don't think there's anything you can, you know, you can't go back and, you know, say those things. I mean, you might drive yourself crazy, you know. Then you got to move forward. But no, but we're happy and we're very content. And we're, like I said, it's just unbelievable the career we've had. So, you know, can't complain.
Any words of wisdom for your fans back in India?
Well, thank you for the support. It was great playing in India, and I hope we come back soon. So keep it death metal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So yeah, we met.